I always tie the airplane the same way. So I feed the rope from the left to the right, and I hold it with my right hand to keep it nice and firm. And I hold the loose end of the rope with my left hand, and from the front, not from the back, from the front, I go ahead and make a loop from the back to the front. So the rope comes again from the front to the back, and then the loop from the back to the front. Make sure that before you make this first loop, you bring this down with your right hand so that the rope is firm. If that is not done, and you make the loop, all of a sudden you're not securely tied down. This is loose. So make sure that this is nice. You pull here with your right hand so that this is nice and firm. Now, after I do that, I go ahead and switch my hands. So switch my right hand, hold it again so that the first loop stays there. This is the loop that holds the knot, okay? So we're going to do a second loop. Now the second loop is only going to hold this first loop in place. So it's kind of going to pinch it in place. So the second loop, again, with my left hand, I'm going to make the same loop from the front to the back, and back to the front again. But I'm going to place this second loop between the first loop and on the right side. And the way I'm going to do that is by placing this rope just above the first knot, and then I am going to pull it in this direction so that it kind of makes its way in there and it pinches the first loop. And then I do that a second time. Pull it here, make the first knot, switch hands. One more time. I place it, and then I pull it to this direction so that it makes its way and pinches the first loop. Now let me show you what you're not supposed to do. The biggest mistakes tying down your airplane is making your first loop and not fully securing it, not making sure it's not firm. You're making the first loop, but look at this. This doesn't tie the airplane, doesn't secure it. So before you even make your second loop, make sure that the first one is nice and tight. Another mistake that people do is after they do their first loop, they kind of let it loose and then they feed the second loop. And it doesn't hold it in place. All right? If the first loop is not tight, the second loop will hold it in place, but it's not going to be good. Okay? So even after you completed your first loop, make sure that it is still tight and kept in place by switching hands, and then you bring in your second loop. Okay? Another mistake that I see people do is they make the first loop, and then when they bring the second loop, they try to manually with their hands create this space like this so that they can bring in the second loop and then try to hold it like this. That doesn't quite secure the first loop. It kind of works, but it can be done better. The best way to do it is to let it pinch its way in. So bring the first loop, second loop, you don't really have to put it there yet. You just kind of place it on top of the first loop, and then you pull it to the direction where it'll make its way in between this first loop, and the right side. And that's how you securely tie down an airplane.